Today, we are going to be talking all about the annual plan. And actually, I'm going to take I don't know, for those of you guys that don't know, I have endometriosis and this month has been a doozy. And so I'm taking some Advil really quick. And I'll start sharing my screen. So I was like, if I am pausing for uncomfortableness, I was like, just apologies in advance. I'm seeing my person later and it's just gonna keep getting better. So today we are talking all about the annual plan. And this is something I actually offered in this last round of the mastermind as a bonus because this is the perfect time for you guys to start thinking ahead to 2024. What does 2024 look like for you? What do you want it to look like? And being more intentional with the time that you're spending on your business and your life. So, today we're going to first talk about like how to create a well-rounded year that encompasses both your personal life and your business simultaneously. I know that many of you guys, we all have lives outside of our businesses, and a lot of times it's the first thing to go. So, we're going to talk about how to see your year as a whole and then plan around it. Then we're also going to talk about how to have goals. And specifically, we're going to be talking mostly about goals for your business. But there might be goals or just big things happening in your life that we're going to talk about as well. Then we have the monthly breakdown. This is where you're going to talk about like the overarching things and categories for each month. This is my favorite thing that I use as much as possible. So the monthly breakdown is really what we're going to spend the bulk of our time on. And then we're also going to touch on if you need to plan it out week to week, what that looks like as well. So when we discussed Monday Hour One, I talked about habit stacking, how to just focus on those revenue generating activities, which is really marketing, lead gen, and planning and sales every time they pop up. But there's also going to be larger things that we need to plan our time around. Those might be like vacations. If you have little ones, they might have breaks or things like that that you need to plan your time around, renovations. And we want to make sure that we're taking time to schedule the business stuff on the opposite side of things. We don't want to have business and life with big things happening simultaneously because it can just get really stressful, which is not ideal. So, why is it not moving? Just for fun. So here you guys can refer back to this. Remember, these slides are all included in the classroom, but you can see like examples of what a personal goal would look like. The micro ones that we talked about weekly could be like self-care, workouts, but then there might be like bigger personal things that you have and that you want to do. This is where I would put renovations, running a marathon, like in if you need to invest in things, if you want to read a book, just like your life stuff. What kind of things do you want to accomplish in 2024? You can put that on your calendar. Like I mentioned, I'm going to focus mostly on like these two, because they're the businessy ones, but you still want to like live your life and have personal things too. So if that is something that you plan on doing, let's calendar it. The other thing is relationships. I usually put like, so for me, like visiting extended family and things like that, either like big networking events, business connections. This is where I would put like 200K. It was an event that I would actually go to. I went to an event for the life coach school. That's where I put relationships. So you can put some like businessy relationships and business connections in this area. And then the business advancement, this is more so the things that are going to actually like move your business forward. Actually, hold on. Let me go to discovery first. So personal relationships, discovery would be like trips, if you have events, if you have weddings, if you have showers, whatever you have, those are like kind of like the three life categories that we have here. Are there any questions about like what constitutes as like kind of like a life thing, or are we feeling pretty decent? Monday Hour One is module 5. I think it's just essentially calendaring your week. Amazing. So then the next things are what are recurring processes? What things are happening throughout the year? So these could be bringing in potential clients, the forecasting, or doing projections. That could be something that you put in your calendar every month. If you want to do a webinar once a month, put that in there or put it in your quarterly time. If you want to do every 3 months, whatever you want, those are the kind of things that I would put in recurring processes. Then for business advancement, this is where you want to think about like who you're potentially like hiring, working with, and strategies that you want to implement. That's kind of what I put here. So for me in my business advancement stage, I would have things like, and again, I haven't updated, so much changed after the mastermind. It was like things were moving really, really quickly. So like if I were to go back and edit it, which again, these systems are there for you to support you, but be flexible with it. I haven't updated my annual plan since like August, but it's still in my mind, I would have put like hiring Tess, who's my social media person, doing ads, which I started 2 weeks ago, which has been really interesting and exciting. Um, Making sure that I'm like, okay, I know that I finished working with my one-on-one business coach in April. I know I finished doing the 200K mastermind in January. So I'm like, okay, when am I being supported? Like, do I have the support that I need to make these things happen? And making sure that I have all these strategies in place to support me so I can support others. And the thing that I have here is like, don't let life pass you by. Like, just as a reminder, as you build a business, your life is happening too. So we want to make sure that we are prioritizing it. So the first page of the document that we're about to create, you can put annual goals. So one of the things that I did in the past is I would put like, okay, very similar to the projections, but being like, okay, how many clients do I want to have each month? That could go under reoccurring processes. For personal, that would be like, okay, I know I need to, like, if I want to run a marathon in the third quarter, probably need to start training for it then. For my relationships, if I wanted to do, it's like I knew that like when I was in 200K, and I'm still in 200K, but I'm not doing this next round, I would have put 200K in the first quarter and third quarter. And right, I was like, yeah, it's usually in July. So it's actually now, yeah, it's not in the third quarter, but it was close. It was usually in August before. And then for reoccurring processes, this is where I would put like webinars, just the routine things that you're doing, which again, weekly, focusing on marketing, lead generation and managing leads, planning and sales calls if you have them. But then like the bigger things, remember how you guys are like, when do I fit in webinars? Like, how do I actually make sure that I am doing the webinar or like making sure that I don't get overwhelmed? You can plan it out further in advance if you have it like this. With the career advancement and results, this could be like, okay, what are like the bigger things? Like if you once you do that first webinar, you kind of know how to do webinars, but what are maybe like bigger things that I want to do? Um, Maybe if you want to start an email list, that could be here. If you already have an email list, maybe we want to do like a Facebook group, like some other things that are a part of your business. That's where you put here something new, something that's challenging, things like that. And the discovery, this is mostly where I put trips. So this is actually like my favorite thing. I love seeing my year on a calendar like this. If you go with like even a Google Calendar, it doesn't look like this. Like, so I can't really plan out my life and my year the way that I kind of want to see things. So here I just have literally every month and then those 5 categories. So and if you want to move miscellaneous closer to relationships, feel free to do that. You can move these around again, adapt as you need. But this is where I'll be like, oh crap. Okay. So for me in May, we were doing renovations and we had our floors taken out and like replaced. And we're redoing my office hopefully in December or January. So that's where I would put those kind of like bigger ticket things. With relationships, this is where I would put like time with my family, So I know that we're going on a ski trip with my cousin who I haven't seen in like forever in January. Like my grandparents live nearby, so like if we get together on a weekly time frame, that doesn't go there, but we are also going to like for Thanksgiving or something like that. If you're in the US and like celebrate it, the November, it's like I would put Thanksgiving with the family so that I would remember, hey, it's like I know you're also launching, but you're gonna be with mom and dad and it's gonna be like a whole thing. So just make sure that you are ready for that and seeing that ahead of time and just playing intentionally around it. Same thing here. It's like I'm not actually going to a different location, but I am going to be with my parents for like a solid week and a half. You guys might see me in a different background going on. Like, so that's going to be fun. It's going to be so fun. We're going to have so much fun. I love my parents. They're the best parents in the world, but sometimes they can be a lot. So that's why I would just want to have it on here. So I'm like mentally and emotionally, I'm like prepared. Maybe have a couple extra like self-coaching scholars calls to support myself in these times. Those are all wonderful things that you want to keep in mind. Then within trips and things like that in the miscellaneous category, and I can change this for the future, but these slides are already made. But with the miscellaneous, I already know that I'm going on a trip on the 18th in December. So I'd put like that trip to Georgia here. And I know I'm going on a trip in February and the trip in January, that would be like kind of like a dual purpose one because we're going somewhere. I'm not just staying at home. And those are the only 3 trips I have planned for next year. Oh, and my friend wants to go somewhere in April. So those would be the things I would put there. Now, for the reoccurring processes and things like that, that's where if you are like, oh, you know what? I love teaching. I love doing these webinars. I want to make sure I'm doing a webinar every month. You can, or every other month. You can actually plan those out here and think about the topics that would relate to the month. So if like this just like adds another level of intentionality to your business. So like for me, it's like I know I always do my annual plan webinar. This a very similar webinar to this in January. I always think it's helpful. A lot of people are setting goals, things like that. That's what I always do in January. Toward in April and May of last year, I did a goal setting one and I did a marketing workshop. And then I know that I'm going to be launching. So I'm going to have different webinars at different times. And I want to make sure that the topics like don't overlap too much. So for me, I also put launching here on this result side. So I know I launch every March and May, and I launch every September and November. Those are like the 4 months that my groups will always be launched because I'm going to have 2 groups going simultaneously. You guys have the track 1, I'm calling it, from 10 to 12. And then there's going to be a track 2 that actually starts today. I'm very excited. From 1 to 3. They're delightful. And I love like just like you guys. I'm like, oh my God, it actually like worked. It's so fun. So things went well and new humans are coming into my world today. And that is kind of what my years looks like. So it's like I don't want to plan. If I was thinking it's like, oh, I'm going to do a webinar every other month, I would kind of like think about that here. Does that make sense to everyone? This is the most important thing, like the goals and things like that. It's like this is good, but like this is really where I spend the majority of my time. Oh my gosh, yes. Literally, like I'm gonna be doing this, Nadia, like the exact pretty much I think I'm just gonna focus on this for this webinar to like for the annual plan one in January so that I can have this. Because this is really this is the only thing I really use now. But before when I was starting my business, I also really wanted to like just see the whole year. And it was, again, I kind of do it with projections, but it was fun to like be like, okay, what would be like if I do sign 15 people? I'm like, what could my year look like?
Can we have a sneak peek of what it looks like annually? Because
It's
I'm just thinking it's going to look like.
it's gonna look crazy. I was like, are you ready for this? Because it's a mess. I was like, I haven't
It
updated
makes
it.
me feel better if it's a mess for someone else.
Oh, great. Okay, great. Well, then I will show you my mess. I was like, let me get in here. It is a bit of a mess, so just don't judge me. But this is what it looks like. So it's like I had the goals here. Oh, here in the personal, you could put books and things like that. I also even though I paid a ton of money for 200K, I still had never done creating big things. Like it's a module in there. So it's like, because you have to like plan time to watch them. So I like had to plan to do that because I was like, whoops, I should probably do this. And then here are like my trips. And I just kind of want to be like, okay, am I doing these things? And then here are the reoccurring processes. So I used to do like undergoals, realistic, and stretch. And that felt really bad to me. I was like, I didn't love that because I was like, it made me like if an undergoal would be like 90K, I thought I was going to raise my price sooner, but I was like, that just didn't feel good to me. So if you having an undergoal stretch realistic, it works for you, great, but it just didn't feel great to me. Also, I was like predicting some larger numbers, and I was like, well, nothing ever works out exactly as you plan, but you can always make it for you. So that's kind of what this looks like. I put the numbers here based on having so it's like I essentially for results, I did the number of clients I wanted, and then I just multiplied the number of clients times the number. The thing is, I actually only had like 7 clients up until the second quarter. So that's why things drastically look different. I was talking with my friend today and she was like, so why did you under earn this year? And I was like, because I had thoughts about clients. One-on-one clients. I'm like, that is why I under earned. And so I was like, harsh but true. And she was like, because these numbers should not have added up. And I was like, they didn't. I know. Having 21 on one clients, I feel like for me personally, my capacity, I was like, 15 is a great number for me. So like this like lovely 510,000 was hanging on me having 20 one-on-one clients. And I think it was like 20 people in my group. So having like 40 people. Now I'm working with close to that now, but it's like, or 28. So I'm like, yeah. So it's like very different. I was like, so that is what I came up with those numbers with. So you can see that. And I also want to purge the clouds. Did I learn how to play guitar? No. But that is on the list for next year. So again, another piece about being a CEO is just being really flexible and being like, well, this was a thought and I really thought this was going to happen in January of 2023. And then everything else happened. I was like, nope, we're changing everything. So just being flexible with that too. But then you can
And then the
see,
monthly, yeah.
yeah, and then the monthly. So then I had like, I need to do recertification when the groups were finishing. I wanted to seed how to create marketing that converts. I wanted to create all my marketing. So you could put batching in here, like when you want to batch. That could be something that you do. I did an annual plan webinar on January 4th. I put my receivables, like what I actually made, and I kind of color coded my year based on my launch cycle. So it's like the launch for group 1 kind of goes from like January to March, and then group 2 is like this April, May thing. But see, like hiring employees and setting them up, I had planned to do this in May and it happened in August. Start guitar lessons with Rob never happened. But it was like we did go to Greece, so I'm like that was there. And I think I switched like miscellaneous and discovery. Like it's like I kind of like considered that as miscellaneous. I thought I was going to start a millennial group for the life coach school and for the posse, and that got shut down. So I was like, okay, that works. Oh, I wanted to have you guys seen my testimonial freebie? Like that's my freebie. So it's like I decided to do that in June. I made a bunch of webinar sequences. We have not budgeted, but we will eventually. I was like, that'll happen next year. Promise, because that's one of the reasons why I hired my one-on-one coach. She's helping me with my budget for my business and my life. So great. I also thought that Rob was going to be my hiree, and so that was what this was. And then I crossed out the things. I was like, I'd do an offer webinar. Didn't happen. So I was like, crossed it out. I used to do a like 3K in 30 days challenge. And then I got coached and she was like, don't do it. And I was like, oh, okay. So that didn't happen. But I did have the funnel for the group starting in September. This is what you guys all attended, or at least were a part of this launch. I knew that I needed to switch out my testimonial funnel, but I didn't plan on adding the other group. That's why I was like, essentially when August came, it was just kind of like, oh shit. I was like, I decided to start this other group. I signed a bunch more one-on-one clients because I got better thoughts about it. Literally like didn't even have like Thanksgiving here. So like that's kind of what it like looks like. And also I need to have my ADHD medicine appointment. So fun, just fun things that like are in here. And if you want to see like for the monthly what it looks like, if I was like, okay, what do I want it to look like? I could be like lose 10 pounds, did not lose any weight. I actually gained weight, which is great. But I could be like, I could even like break it down into what I'm going to talk to you guys about next is like weekly. You'd be like completely unrealistic goals, by the way. Like not but it's like if you don't try, you never know. So it was just kind of like I could see kind of like how it could work out weekly here. So it was like kind of like, here's what it looked like for January. And that's what I was going to show you guys next. Like if you wanted to see what it looks like weekly, it was like, these were my plans. Did not work. I was going to join this program and then the program got canceled. So I didn't do that. It was like, so that's kind of how it looks. Are there any questions about that? Do you guys, I'll share this with you. I'm going to redo it, I promise, in December. But yes, Demetria.
I just have one question. So on
Yeah.
your on this one that we're looking at right now, so is that January, like week 1, week 2, week 3, week 4?
Yes. So it would be
Okay.
like, okay. And a lot of times I'll put like NA if I like didn't have anything going on. Like
Okay.
one of my friends who lives in Georgia, she came to town. So I was like, oh great. Like I'll see B. Like that would be something. Beatrice is her name. So I was like, that was stuff that I put here. Reach out to 90 people for the webinar, like that kind of stuff. I was like, oh my God, I'm doing that webinar. Should probably reach out to all my lists. This is back when I was posting and ghosting. I've gotten so much better about it. Like now that I have someone posting for me. But man, I was horrible. I would literally like just be like, oh, here, I'm doing a webinar. Silent for 3 months. By the way, I'm doing a webinar. Silent for 3 months. It's like I've learned a lot in this past, even just this year, about the importance of that. So again, recertification, I put that all in here. Do you guys want me to share this with you? Would that be helpful? It's a mess, but like, would that be, I can share this. I'll just share this with you guys. So you guys can look and see all the things that did and did not happen. But yeah, so that's the next page here is the monthly. So it's like seeing like, just like, and what you can do. Again, when I started my business, I had a lot of extra free time that I kind of like would be like, oh, it's like, I really want to see everything planned out. And it made me feel really safe. So it was really just like helpful for me to see my year in review. I still think that the monthly plan, this one, I think is monthly breakdown is still insanely useful. Like, even if you are insanely busy, I would still take a look at this because then you can kind of see your year mapped out. However, planning things every single week like that, it was something that I had started doing on like a weekly basis. And I was like, it's just too much for me. So feel free to, again, like I'm giving you the things that like helped me to grow, but these are additional systems for a reason. You do not need to do this every single month, every single week to hit 6 figures. These are just things if you're like, oh my God, I really do. January is a crazy month for me. I really need to see it mapped out. This is an awesome opportunity for you, not necessarily something that you need to do. So you guys are a light in the world. I love that I ended each of these with like something like just very positive. I was like, I genuinely feel like that. You guys are just like, oh, I'm so excited for all of you. I love each and every one of you so much. And I want to hear if there are any questions before you start to make your template copies. Or are we feeling kind of good? Is it kind of self-explanatory? I know it was like not self-explanatory. I need to explain a little bit more, but still pretty decent. So
As usual, I just want to do my annual plan right now.
I don't, well, I actually am going to take time. Like when I have, I'm moving a couple people, for me, my family celebrates Christmas. So I'm going to be like just chilling around the house. And I'm like, what better time to like just take a minute and like think about the future year. So I'm actually going to redo my annual plan. And you guys actually started with the 5-year plan, which I actually switched, but I'm gonna redo my long-term plan and my annual plan in like probably in 2 weeks. Just because I was like, I've got time. I want to like just because so much has changed, you guys. Like literally, it's just like looking every time I get like my timeline feed, I'm like, 2 years ago, my entire life was so different. This year, my life is different. I'm like, nothing is the same. And so I'm like, I really need to go back in and redo these things from a different frame of mind. So go ahead and I know it takes a bit to like reconfigure your Zoom. So go ahead and like come out of the Zoom, get into your Drive, and go to the Six Figure Systems Mastermind, and then go to the classwork tab. And I'm just gonna like put it here. Oh, for the launch. I was like, I'm so sorry I missed this. I put that just to Sarah. Sorry. I was like, everyone, I was like, I don't know if this is helpful for me to share the classroom with you guys, but the launch, 6 people signed up, which I was kind of shooketh. I was like, because I did one last week of marketing. No one was re-signing from past rounds. This is all new people. And so I was like, oh my God. I'm like, and they all except for one paid by Friday. So I had like a very chill weekend, which was just amazing. And I increased the price to 5K. So I was like expecting a dip. I was like thinking a dip would happen. And it didn't. And I was like, oh my God. Well, it did, but like technically this was also a 30K launch with 10 people. So it just like takes less people if the prices change. So I'm like, I know, very exciting. And they're all wonderful. You guys will see them. I'm gonna post a picture of them today too, because it's like their first call. So it's like
I'm
I'm gonna post it to you guys. Like, they're awesome. You guys are gonna love them. And I'm gonna start, but they're gonna be at a separate stage than you guys. You guys are like crushing it. Really, I'm so excited. Like, I'm looking at all of your marketing and I'm just like, who are they? I'm like, you guys are the best. So here, back in the classroom, we've got the annual plan template. And you're gonna click make a copy. I was like, did it help to have the link in the chat? Did that make it go a little faster? I hope it did. Yes, I know. I was like, Nadia, amazing. And I told Nadia that I would give her, I like, because she wanted to come to the Q&A call. So if you guys want to see that here, by the way, just so you know, like this was the Q&A call and both of them signed up. But it was something I wanted to do, and I'll send you guys like literally everything I have for the launch. I'll give you guys, would you guys like that? Would that be helpful to like if you're thinking about doing a group in the future? I'll give that to you. I'll give you everything I have. I might make that like a separate module, honestly, because it would take a long time to explain it. And my notes are good and getting even more clear. Yes, I was like, I got you guys. Because I think that like I think it just helps to like think ahead. Okay, so what you're going to do is then you're going to save it to your Drive. Go into your Six Figure Systems group coaching program. Create a new folder. 10 annual plan. Annual has 2 N's. I learned the hard way. My first annual plan webinar that I ever did, I spelled it with 1 N. My mom was like, you're an idiot. And I was like, spell check doesn't work on Google Slides, by the way. You have to actually actively click tools and spell check. Same with sheets. So either one of those, if you're using those, make sure you spell check before you share it, because I had a lot of typos and people were like, who is she? I was like, trying my best. So that is there for you. If you have any questions, if you want to run through it, feel free to. Otherwise, I know that many of you amazing humans are doing some webinars and things like that. So feel free to bring that. We can look over your slides, all of the things. I feel like my brain just like was like, where is everything? Clearly, I need more caffeine. So let's do it. Who wants some coaching in December? Oh my gosh, Maria, I love your hair. I just scrolled down, I can see it. I'm obsessed. I've seen those things and I'm like, I've thought about buying them. But I don't sleep in my hair. I just like I have to curl it every morning because I do.
Do you
hot
take
yoga.
it off at night?
No, you sleep with it on. That's the
No,
whole
I
thing. It's
know. I
squishy.
know, but you said I don't sleep in my hair.
Oh no. I meant I was like, I just do hot yoga in the morning and I sweat profusely. And I have to shower after every
Oh
single
yeah,
time.
so you can't, you
It's
don't
gross.
get up and have it.
No,
Yeah,
no, the every other day washing doesn't apply to me.
yeah. I was excited though to maybe figure out how I could take my hair off at night.
Oh my
That
God,
would-
wouldn't that'd be interesting? I was like, I don't know
if I
how
could
to
be
do it.
Dolly Parton for a day and just
Right?
set it on a mannequin, that'd be great.
I love it. I was like, I feel like literally anyone who has any questions, feel free to bring it. I also know, Sarah, I haven't seen you in like 3 weeks or 4 weeks. So I didn't know if I just wanted to touch base, see how things are going. I'm sure you filled out your form. If you're feeling good, we can totally like, I could just go through everybody and see how everyone's feeling too. Now all the hands. I was like, Demetria and then Nadia. I was like, I
Okay.
love it.
So yeah, this is gonna be kind of, I'm trying to get y'all on just one screen, vulnerable. So I need
Yeah.
a little coaching around constraint.
I'm so glad that you bring it.
Okay.
Tell me. And also give me a quick win and then I got you.
A quick win. Did I say this last week? So I was having drama around my podcast and not loving it and not wanting to do it. And it was because it takes me a long time and I was writing it and reading it and I felt like very robotic. And so I got some coaching in several places, which you'll hear about in a minute. And I just decided like I'm committing through March. And I'm just doing it a little bit more off the cuff and just relaxing. And so the last two have been better.
I'm so glad.
Yeah, so that's a win. And funny thing, like when I just talk with some points, it's longer because it was like 5 minutes sometimes, 10 minutes sometimes, which is fine. But maybe I ramble on. I don't know, but I'm committed to rambling until March. I need to turn on the fan because I have on this sweater and it's not really that cold in
Oh my God,
Texas.
you're totally
Hold on
fine.
one
I was
second.
like, I'm so proud of you for committing and I can't wait to coach you around constraint because I feel like this is,
All right.
I
feel like
literally
this is
coached myself on this morning. So I was like,
Yeah,
yep.
I feel like
feel it.
this is a confession.
Oh
And
God, I was like, okay, bring it.
I know. I'm just like, hold on. I can't. I had split screen and I'm trying to get y'all in one place. Okay. I'm going to tell you about the programs that I'm in and my
Yep.
dilemmas. So some of them are lifetime programs.
Okay.
2K for
It's-
2K.
Yep.
The Boom Boom Room. I think you know what that is.
I
What's her
actually
name?
don't. Boom, boom,
Serena
boom?
Hicks.
Oh, really? Oh,
Yeah.
I got dinner with
That's
her.
Lifetime. And the Coach Lab. That's Lifetime.
Yep.
Okay. I think that's all of those. I'm in here.
Yep.
I'm in Corinne's thing.
No BS. So I'm gonna say groups.
Yeah.
I was like,
And I told you, I mean, my plan always was to sign up for Lindsay's thing.
Group.
And it's her certification. It's like a mastermind, but she calls it a advanced certification and coaching or something like that. Anyway, it starts in February.
Okay, gotcha.
I'm also doing really feel I'm gonna get certified with Brendan Burchard
Okay.
in May.
I'm gonna mess up his name.
Brendon. And it doesn't
Oh,
even matter.
I was gonna say Brendan's training, or is
Yes. Yes. So I'm doing all those things.
it? Mhm.
So, and anyway, so the thing that I'm thinking about that I'm probably going to do is stop Corinne's thing for now
Okay.
because it's just a lot, right? And
Okay.
I do participate and I do things, but I really think like I would be better served if I just obviously stayed here. This is great for me. Do Lindsay's thing that starts in February, and Brendan's thing is like a week.
Okay.
And then just like deep dive into 2K and just all that's been spinning. And I really feel like I just needed to confess. And
I'm so glad you did, because I know that probably everyone in here has a bunch of other things that they've done and are in as well, for sure. Like me too. I'm like, I have a list, so please don't feel alone and that you have to confess it. I was like, I would just love to help you problem solve and troubleshoot for this, because it
Right.
does seem like it is a bit much. It's like,
and
for your
that's just the
brain.
current stuff. If
I
we're
know,
just telling the truth,
I'm like the
those are the
LCS
current programs.
certification and like there's all the things. So
So
what now? I'm guessing why this is coming up is because you're trying to think about where to spend your time and get the most return for that investment. Now, with all these things, I think your brain is thinking that if you consume them on the other side of things, there will be a shift. What is it? Can we just like if your brain has a thought that like if I do more things, then I will create something. What is that something?
if I do more things, I'll create success, I think.
Okay, let's define success real quick. Like, what would that be? More clients? Would that be more money? Like, what does it look like for your brain and for
Yeah,
you?
both of those things. More clients, more money.
Yeah.
But part of the problem too is like, and I know this, the different advice, like I'm like, oh, they said do this, and oh, they said do that, and it's creating havoc in my brain.
Mm-hmm. And
Um,
yeah.
mhm.
So if we think about this thought, if I do more, I will create success. It's like that's the thought. How does it feel like when you're in that thought? Like I need to do these things there's something I need to figure out. I don't know. What is your thought? I was like, this is kind of like what I gave you as a sentence starter.
Yeah.
Is there like a specific thought, like every time that you see maybe like Lindsay's thing or Brendan or like, what is the thought that comes up that's like, I need to do this?
It'll help me get better, I think. Is the thought.
Okay. Okay, I bet everyone has this thought. Like, and it sounds like such a great thought. Like, this really does. It sounds like a lovely thought, but how does it feel in your body when you think this will help me get better?
It feels a little desperate.
Yeah.
Because I guess the real thought is like, I'm not good enough. That's the real thought.
Yeah. And literally, Demetria, thank you so much for bringing this up. I think this is coming up. This could come up for everyone. And I want you to think about like how, and it literally came for me this morning. I was like, it just like a different flavor. So it might not be, I'm not good enough, but be like, this business isn't good enough to XYZ. Or it's like, I was like, I don't know if this is actually going to, I need to do more. I literally coached myself. I was like, well, what's after? I was like, if 35 people and 15 one-on-ones is $1 million, It's like, well, what's after 1 million? I need to be doing that right now. It was like, I need to, whatever is the next thing, I need to be starting it right now because later is going to be scary. Like, so I just want to normalize this thought, I'm not good enough, for everybody. And I want to also, like, let's just get a little curious. Like, okay, brain, you're giving me this thought, I'm not good enough. It's creating a little desperation. What is the result? Like, this thought, this desperation, what are you doing from that? You mentioned that it's like kind of creating havoc in your brain.
Yeah. I think the action is just grabbing at things and trying to piecemeal it all together and trying to do all the things. And so then I don't think I'm focused. Like, I feel like in my brain's telling me I need Corinne for this because, she's built this business and her email sequence and that type of thing, but I need to get better at consults. So, and it's just spinning. Yeah.
Yeah. And so this thought that I'm not good enough undermines your ability to see that you are good enough right now to sign more clients and make more money, and that you are successful right now, which might seem like a really big leap. So it's like, we don't need to like trigger your brain too much right now, but did you realize that this is the thought you were creating these things from?
No, it was probably I need more information was what I thought I was creating that from, but it really boils down to I'm not good enough.
Yeah. And so we can just have compassion for your brain, because in every other career in the past, if you did more and got more information,
Mhm.
you moved ahead. The weird thing with business is that it's like actually an enigma. And the more that you do, the less you're able to create. Like, you actually have to constrain in order to create. Because the consumption, like, it's like, I think the reason why that happens is the consumption takes over the creation, and then you don't, then the benefit from the lack of time when the creation phase takes away from the results. So it's like your brain thinks that if you consume more, then you'll create the right things to get the results, when really it's create, consume a smidge, but mostly just focus on the creation piece. And that's actually what creates the results. So what's coming up for you here?
I mean, I've been thinking that I need to eliminate some of it and just focus on just a couple of things. So,
Okay.
yeah.
And I think that, like, so this is like a great like tipping point. We're all gonna have this at like different points, but I think what's happened is, like, it's almost like if you imagine like your bucket of time in the week, I think it's just overflowing. I think it's just, there's so much in there. That's what I mean by like a tipping point of like, okay, we just need to change what's we're putting in the bucket for the week. Now, with the like needing more information, we need to make sure that part of your brain feels safe, because it'll just come out like weird. Like, it'll be like, oh, and I just spent 5K on this program. It's like, they did say that they would get me 200 leads, and this is what I need. So it's like, how can we make this, like, does your brain feel safe to be like, okay, I see now that I don't need more information? And I think this might be a misconception that I might have even like perpetrated, because I even say, like, show up to this to this call like your like 100K self, like your 6-figure self, implying that you need to be something different in order to do something different in order to be the version of you that creates more money or more clients. And that stressed me the fuck out also. Like I literally was like, when I was thinking about my 7-figure self, I'm like, well, I can never not have my nails done. And I can't just chill out on the weekend because 7 figures means that I have to do a lot of shit and I'm running a whole team. And I was like, wait a second, but I can create what I want right now. So it's like for you right now, I want you to see that you're enough right now. Like you have everything that you need to sign more clients and make money. And I think that your brain has like tried it a smidge, the things that you have, and it hasn't created that result. And that's why it's like thinking something's gone wrong.
Mhm.
Maybe,
Right. Yeah. Because
right? It's like something's gone wrong. We're problem solving with more information, which is logical, right? That's a good
right.
chain of command.
Mm-hmm.
However, what your brain doesn't realize is this thing called the 90-day rule, where it takes 90 days of consistent, constrained action in just marketing alone, but like pretty much with everything in business to actually see the result from. So
Right.
have you ever followed like it, which is so literally perfect that it's you because the 90-day goal, it's like, what if we can see something through for 90 days and then we can gather information? That's why this program is 6 months, not 90 days. It's so that you can see something through consistently for the whole 6 months. And then
Right.
at 3 months after, which would kind of be like month 4, then you'd be able to tweak it. But I think you've just tweaked a little smidge early. So it's like, great. This is actually wonderful news. We've just been tweaking a lot. Let's figure out what stuff we actually really like enjoy doing. What do we want to fill our time with? And also the things that have been proven to get some results, you know?
Right. Right. Yeah. So I really do think that I'm gonna bow out of Corinne's program for now.
Okay.
And I mean, I can always go back.
Always.
But I have this
Mm-hmm.
until end of March. Is that right?
Yes.
Okay, end of March. I have this until end of
Mhm.
March. Lindsay's thing starts in February, but I really think that's different. Like this is business, and that's like honing in on your coaching.
Okay. Perfect.
So I really feel like that's different, and they're going to complement each other. And I think I do want to get better at my consults because I think that will make a huge difference in my conversion. Which is when I look at it, I looked at it the other day and I just looked at the numbers. It's not bad.
What is it?
Okay, I had 4 show up and 2 said yes. And
So
I
that's
had
a
2 no shows.
50% conversion rate. And
2 no shows.
even with the no, we don't count the no shows.
Okay.
There's like, they are lovely humans that like, they didn't show. You couldn't consult them. So I'm like, within the process here, that 50% conversion rate, do you know what the average is?
I don't.
8%. 8 to
Okay.
12%. That's the
And
average.
then my brain has a big but.
But they get more consults, right?
Well, but they were acquaintance. Well, one's a friend and one's an acquaintance. So that's my big.
So the
I'm like, oh,
solution then should become, how can I make more friends and acquaintances?
okay.
You know what I mean?
Yes.
Now, within this, I'm like, I'm so glad that you brought this up. This is like the perfect conversation for today, because when we're thinking about your week, one of the things that I realize is that like each additional program, like I'm considering doing a program and it's like a completely different protocol around it. So I had mentally prepared myself to do solo to CEO, like when I had done my annual plan originally. But I didn't mentally prepare myself to do Master the Media, which was a program that I actually enrolled in April. And I got through module 1 and 2. And then I totally just didn't do the rest of the course. I spent $5,400 on it. $5,400. Like that's enough to be like, hey, you should like maybe invest in it. And I just got really overwhelmed and I was like, this is too much. I didn't know when I could fit it in my work week. So instead of just adding things to your work week, let's take a gander about like what we want this work week to look like And then what I'm thinking is we can like, and I think that this is great for everybody. Have we talked about the availability thing? Like when you have consults, like the time slots that you have?
Well, you know, I have my calendar
I perfect. Okay, so
exactly
what
laid
are
out.
your? I was like, and if you want to even share it, I want to like, you don't have to share your screen at all, but like within your week, it's like, what? Tell me what time slots you have that you would like potential clients to be filling those slots, and let's figure out when you want to work. Like, you don't have. I was talking with someone the other day, and she was trying to plan like a 50-hour work week, but she only wanted to work 30 hours. And I was like, the math is just not mathing. I was like,
Right.
so it's like, how many hours, when would you like to work every week?
So, I mean, I don't mind sharing my calendar because it really
Let's
is
do it.
all laid out on there. Okay. Is that my
Yes.
door?
I was like, we got a lot.
Okay. So, and things are a little bit weird right now because it's the holidays in Vegas. Make that go away.
Which is so fun.
So this is space for coaching,
Okay.
but let's look at a week that
Is a more normal week.
yes. I
I
can't
was like,
get
I know
to
you have to move us around. It's a whole thing.
Yeah.
It was like, it's
Mm,
weird. If you guys you guys are, I would love
Here
to
we go.
have more sharing of screens. I was
Okay, so
perfect.
this would be so Monday. I'm doing that summit.
Okay.
So
Oh,
that's
so
but
there.
that's normally like business time, like books and things like that. The 2K call. I've been doing a co-working thing, but that's been good because I get things done. Content batching.
Mm-hmm.
I have this. This is a call that's normally on Saturday. This is my time for
Coaching
clients.
Okay.
And this is my time for clients. That's me getting coached.
Okay.
This is Corinne's call that will then go away. Space for clients, space for clients. This space, but I'm having coffee with a colleague networking thing.
Mm-hmm.
And this is Lindsay's thing. So and space for clients then. So really Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and Saturday are my times for clients. I have study time in here normally on Fridays.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Or study time here. That's time for me to do whatever. So I have all of that time blocked off and I'm ready to go. Like if all those green spaces filled up with clients, I'd be
fine,
golden, and I could handle it.
Which is awesome. What I want to, so it's like, if we're thinking about these programs and things like that, when we're thinking about your time, like when we're thinking about like consuming, and I did this for you guys, but like within this program, you don't need to do any consumption necessarily outside of it. You know what I'm going to teach you. It's just the actual content batching and reaching out to people. That's the only things really in planning. If you guys want to, and sales calls, like those are the 4 things that really we focus on here. With Corinne's program, you've got that call once a week.
Mm-hmm.
You've got the Boom Boom Room, Coach Lab, and 2K. So each of these, I'm just making a note. 2K is like spending 1 hour of your time.
Right.
Boom Boom Room, how much time is that?
Actually, it's an hour and a half. So this may be a little bit better because then I think they're all on there. So the Boom Boom Room is there, and that's always their replays. So sometimes I'm live, sometimes I'm not.
Yeah. So what are the things that like within your week? It's like, I think that more so the issue might be that there's like information overload. That's because it's like, if we're looking at the time, it's like you've got an hour for 2K. How much time is the Coach Lab? Is that 2 hours a week usually?
It's 1 hour.
Okay, 1 hour a week.
Mm-hmm.
I'm 2 hours. Corinne is 1 hour. I think that it's not necessarily the time of the calls. It's the stuff that you get from the calls that might be the thing that's causing a lot of overwhelm. Like the funnel, or I have no idea. I've never been in No BS, but like, is it the funnel? Is it watching the 2K modules? Is it like, what are the pieces from these programs that are causing the overwhelm?
I think for
Or
me,
the conflicting
maybe
info?
in No BS, it's the funnel, building the email list, and it's a kind of a long drawn out process. Whereas 2K is like, tell them you're a coach, tell them you can help them, get them on a consult.
Yeah.
Which I feel like the funnel's bringing them in, and then it's like the length of the program. Like Corinne suggests 12 weeks, and keep it short in the beginning. And Stacy's like, give them enough time to get the results, and
So it's just like, it's confusing now.
it's conflicting advice, which I know I get to decide in the end. I totally get that.
That's where we're coming back to. And that's what, like, I wanted to talk to you and be like, okay, so it's like, it's not necessarily the things you're in, it's the conflicting information.
Mhm.
Now you get to decide what you want your business to look like. Like, there are a million ways to run a business. And I'm going to share my screen once more to do something I think that might be helpful for all of you. Because this is something I did on a call like yesterday. God. So have you guys ever, most people have heard of a funnel. And a funnel, for anyone who hasn't heard of it, is a way to bring people into your business. So if you think about an actual funnel, what you have is you've got bigger at the top, then smaller, then smallest is at the bottom. So the funnel that you guys create within Six Figure Systems is, we have like posting. Because if you think about it, no one even has to opt in to your business at the posting level, that you could just pop up on their feed. Then the second level that you have is the consult, and 3 is client. Like, so that's kind of like the funnel that we have. There are there are like micro pieces of the funnel that are helpful. So it's like, there's webinars that someone actually has to opt in to like see. There is, what else do I teach? Managing leads.
Pre-offer.
I was like, the lead generation, managing leads. Everyone, so it's like, those are the kind of things that we have. These
Mhm.
are the things that I give you. If you do these things, you will have a six, and not even webinars. I was like, we can just take that out. These are the things that if you wanted to just focus on these things, you could literally have a 6-figure business. Many people have done it. Here's what I've seen happens is that, like, so this is like the 6-figure systems funnel. I think what's happening is, so the other option with a funnel could have there could be like there could be a webinar, which I teach. There's the freebie / email sequence that Corinne teaches.
Mhm.
And then there's also the lead generation and managing leads. So it's like, this is here, this is here. That I don't teach. I should make it italicized, not like cross out, but like your podcast is here. Your email list is here. So again, I don't necessarily teach email lists, but like email list. So all these things are part of your funnel. I think that you're thinking, if I have more things in the funnel, then I will get more consults and clients. What I want to just offer is that the more things I add to the funnel, the more things I have to do, and this always gets pushed. And that has been something that I notice is my inclination is always like, okay, what's next? Like, there's probably something different that I need to be doing. Something like, there must be something new, something shiny that like I'm not doing that I need to be doing. And what happens is it takes away from the thing that I know converts clients. If I just talk to people, like you said, they were an acquaintance and a friend. If I just talk to people, usually they're like, hey, this person's pretty cool. I might want to learn more. If I give them things to opt in, even more so. So I think that, like, But I think that either this piece might feel uncomfortable, or it just kind of became like a thing where you were like, I'm told that I need more, and so I'm going to do more. A 6-figure business is
Mhm.
actually not very complicated. It's very simple, but the thing that's actually complicated is you're hearing lots of things, and I just want you to choose things intentionally versus like feeling like kind of like you have them chosen for you. Now,
Right.
so it's like, so this is like the current funnel. And I would say this is like it's an intentional, but like I want to know what you want your funnel to look like. And you can take out managing leads, like, but does that make sense for everybody? Like that kind of analogy? Like you can
Yes.
add things in different areas. What do you want your funnel to look like?
Okay. And I have the Facebook group too, but that's just
Okay, that would be
FYI.
I was like, yep.
I want my funnel to look like posting and the podcast for now, because like I said, I committed to that through March. I'm going to stick with that through March.
Okay.
And I've put the things on YouTube as well, the podcast videos
Yep.
on YouTube. I'm going to stick with that through March, but I want it to be really like pushing that freebie, building the email list, and in that, doing the kind of the lead generation. Like I've been reaching out when people talk to me on or sign up or follow me on Instagram. I've been reaching out. I've been saying, hey, when they make comments, I try to comment. So I've been doing that. And I want to do more in-person networking and then the consult and the client. So,
okay. So now we can see, okay, if it doesn't align with the business that I want, then we just need to kind of like
not do it.
Let it go for now. Or plan it in really intentionally. And like, so for me, one of the things that like I didn't know the time requirement it was expected of me. So I actually reached out to the master media person who is actually one of my clients, and I was like, hey, like they need to be calendar. If they need to watch these modules outside of the 2-hour call, I was like, we need to like schedule it because they already have another job. It's like I want you to think about like your business is like one job, and it's almost like taking on a side hustle when you take on a thing. So just like making sure that like even if you have to reach out to like Lindsay or Brandon, I'm sure they would be like I mean, like I love Lindsay. I'm like, I can be like, hey, I love you. Could you give these times? I think that could be really helpful for you just to like plan out your time. But now that we're thinking about like bringing more people and more clients in, if this is the A line, it's like and let's like be specific. Like instead of like, and I think I coached somebody on this last week about the word successful. It's like being really careful about like words like that. Like just being like, okay, what is my actual goal? It's like, what do I actually want from this business? So it's like, what is your goal? And let's do 90 days. Like, what is my goal within the next 90 days?
5 new clients would be fantastic.
Okay. And if we think about like the journey to becoming the kind of person who signs 5 new clients, and I think that we were talking about like even within a month, it's like, what does that version of you without changing the A line? Because I think that's what your brain is trying to do is like change the A line to get a different R. But like, I want you to think about like what does that version of you who does sign 5 new clients in a month, in 3 months, what is she thinking about this?
About the funnel?
Instead of it's not enough, I'm not good enough, I need more.
That it's working, that I'm doing the right things.
And the thing that creates hesitation, I think, in any of us is this thought that like I'm kind of like, I hope I'm doing the right things, versus I want you within this next month, I want you to do your thought work and become the kind of person that everything I do is right. It's like, if I'm going to make this work, it's right because I choose to make it right, not because there's a right or a wrong thing. I think this is going to be like, literally, like, I've just seen your growth so much. I'm like, I literally think that like this is where you're going to really step into self leadership. Like, you know what? I'm choosing to make it right. I'm going to figure this out. And I think it's going to just create like I really do think you're just like right on the brink. And I think if you can shift into the self concept, like everything I do is right. And if not, I will figure it out. What is your thought there? Because it's like, there's no right thing. There's just a thing I choose to make right. That's always a
Right.
thought.
Yeah.
Does that help? Or is there another thought you can't have?
No, that does help. And yes, that does help. And I think I do need to just journal and work on my brain more to internalize that.
Yeah. Because like, even like, Mikkel was like, you look like amazing. It's like, even like just like, you look amazing. Like, I feel like you were literally just like right on the verge of like really being this person. And I want you to think about how this person feels. There's no, like, when you're like, there's no right thing. There's a thing I choose to make right. How does that feel?
It feels lighter than thinking that I need more, I'm not doing it right, I'm not enough. It feels much lighter.
Yeah, like instead of desperate, like that, I want you to know that feeling is going to show up. And I've just started, and it for everybody, and I've just started to become like really onto myself and being like, no, it's like, I will create safety for myself to figure out what I need after this. But the things I have in place right now are what's going to take me to 7 figures. And I'm like, I know that in my heart. I'm going to get feedback from other people, but I'm like, so check the box. It's like, you've gotten feedback. This is what's going to take you to 5 new clients and so much more in your business. But instead of, when that desperation comes up, just be prepared. It's going to come up. You're going to get ads. People are targeting all of you probably, as you guys have
Yeah.
probably seen. And so it's like, they're going to tell you, and that's wonderful. And they could be things that we want to entertain at a later time for sure. Like, we can keep them on the nightstand, but instead of that, like, desperate, like, urgent grab, like, for me, it felt urgent. Like, I knew in my body, I was like, I have to figure this out right now. I'm like, if not, I'm going to do it wrong. And I'm like, nope, choosing to believe that I'm doing it right. And I will ask for feedback just to double check, but I'm hired the
Yes.
best people. They've got my back, so it's like, instead of desperate, what feeling do you want to feel?
Confident.
Yes. And then from there, the way that you post is like, this post is a post that's going to sign somebody, whether it's today, whether I see it later, but this is the right post for me today. This is the right podcast, the right length, the right level of discussion / rambling that is perfect for my person. This is the right thing to send to my email list. The freebie, this is the perfect freebie. I don't need to touch it again. I don't need to, like, the person who I'm talking to right now is the person for me. And I think, and then the consult, it's like, this is going to show up. I'm going to show up the best of my ability, tell them everything they can to make a really great decision. And they might not be a yes, but I'm going to do this in a confident way because I know that I'm choosing that this is the right way to do a consult and the right way to work with my clients. But when you can do everything from this place, like everything I do, I'm choosing to make right. That's where magic happens.
Awesome.
I love you. How are you feeling now?
Good.
Are you open to any other? I don't know if anyone else had any thoughts.
Always. Yes.
Okay. I was like, I wanted to open it up if anyone else, I know this is like, if anyone else has like something to share, or we can move on to Nadia, because I know that she also
Hey,
raised-
Megan, I just want to say that sometimes when I'm really attracted to something someone is offering, and it's like, oh, I need them. That's what's going to make it for me. sometimes I just turn it around and study what they're doing, because obviously they're doing it right, because you're like, I need this now.
Oh yeah. And
So
mimic,
for me,
not even just like
I
not always
like,
mimic, but still.
what's that?
I was like, I was gonna say mimic, and I was like, wait, take it back. Do not mimic, just study. I like that way better
Yeah, no,
because
just
like
study. Like for me, I find DL Sharon's marketing so compelling,
me too.
and I will probably at some point get into her group, but I know it's just, that constraint right now for me, it's not where I need to be. But I save all of her emails, and I really look at them and study them, and like, what is she doing? Can I notice a theme? Is there a through thread through this sequence? Is it and not to is there something, what's her pitch like? What's her call to action like? What is her level of confidence? And I would love to embody all of that. Do I? No, not all, but when I find myself just really attracted to something, and I know that I need to practice constraints, sometimes you get that all or nothing mindset. Like, I can either be in this world or I can't be in this world.
Mhm.
And then that sort of gets a little FOMO in me. And so I just decide, like, no, I can still be in this world, and I can study this world, and I can absorb this world, but I don't have to be in it, because I know it's just not the right place for me right now. It's too much, or timing's not right, or whatever.
Mhm.
I don't know if that's helpful to you or not, but
That is, thank you. That's very good.
yeah, because all
Um,
these people are masters. Like, they're like, the names you threw out there were like the best of the best. Like, they know how to do it.
mhm.
So
And like for me, I'm like, oh, I don't know why I'm changing this, but I'm like, I'm so with you. And like literally, I have copied it. Like my coach, Jackie, she will send me her emails and be like, copy it for word. That's actually where Maria and I met. And she's like, just take this, use it. Everything that I teach you guys, feel free to, if you are like, this is something that was good, I give you full permission to take literally anything I do. You'll see it like literally the website, the webinars, like just copy and paste the text if you want. Totally fine for me. I can't speak for anybody else, but I will say that that is definitely something that you can do. And another thing I added, I was like, what was like DL thinking or feeling as she wrote that? How can I step into that level of thought leadership? And what was I thinking and feeling that made me get that ping? Instead of being like, oh, instead of it's like use it as like something to study for yourself versus something that is like, man, I'm having that urge again, something's gone wrong, being like, oh, perfect, I'm having that urge, I'm going to use it for copy. Like you know what I mean? Like almost an opportunity.
Right. Awesome.
yeah, but I feel you, girl. I'm the queen of throwing money at the problem and just signing up for all the things, and I don't follow through. And so I know that about myself. So I really have to like reel myself in and just practice that constraint, but still allow myself to be in their world and try to figure out what it is that's getting me hooked. So
Awesome. Thank
you're
you.
not alone.
You are so not alone. And I'm like literally like same. Like, so I love you. And thank you so much for bringing that today. Nadia, if you want to come on, I saw you raise your hand. Start with a win and let's get rolling.
Hi, can you hear me?
Of course.
Yeah, got my headphones on. Okay, a win. Well, I posted about my webinar and I got a sign up. So that was good today.
Amazing.
So
Is today the first day you signed? You posted about it?
I posted about it yesterday, and then I posted about it today as well. Just on well, I don't know if I'm putting it in my, this is what I want to ask about in regards
Yeah,
to my marketing.
perfect.
Right. So, well, first of all, I coached myself before this call because I really needed coaching.
Okay.
And I feel better because I was literally just avoiding doing anything to do with the webinar. Like I'm not talking to people. And I figured out that I'm avoiding doing it because I'm like, basically it's like if I really try and it doesn't work, then it'll be like awful,
Gr-
right? So like the way I protect myself is like don't really ever try. So
Mhm.
then when
Oh,
it doesn't work out,
mhm.
I can be like, well, I know it's because I didn't try. Do you know what I mean? Like that's like my sort of go-to.
Mhm.
So I caught myself on that and I'm feeling better about it because now I'm just looking at it as like, and this is just a test. Like this is a process that I'm following and I'm just going to test it. I'm going to, follow it. It doesn't mean anything about me. It's just like follow the process, see it as a test and see what happens and learn. So I feel better after that earlier.
Well, and I think that like literally comes into what Demetria is saying, which is like just such a great thing to add is like, it's like that idea of being able to be in a test, kind of like, oh, it's like I'm going to test anything. I think if things are, if there was, if this is like really detaching yourself from your result and being like, this is just what a CEO does. A CEO tests things in a controlled environment, changes the variables as needed, and then we get rallying. It's like, this is what I do as a CEO of my business. Doesn't mean anything. It's like, if an ad flops for Apple, they don't think it's probably
Yeah.
because they didn't like me. It's like, no, I'm gonna go fucking hard on this ad and we're gonna make it work, you know?
Yeah. Yeah. So I'm glad I've caught myself there because I've really
Nice.
not been doing anything up until this point, or not much.
Mhm.
Like I know I've had so much time. Time is not my issue, right? I'm always like, oh, I don't have time. And I scroll for hours and like, you know what I mean? Like,
Doom
or
scrolling. Oh
use
yeah, I get it.
any excuse to like not anyway. So caught myself. I'm gonna sort myself out. I've not got long until my webinar, but I'm gonna sort myself out at least,
Yep.
and just move forward and learn. Anyway, my question is, so obviously you already follow the marketing process, which is like, cold, warm, hot. But in the lead up to the webinar, I'm like, I remember you saying like, oh, pick a topic that's like relevant to, but I don't want to obviously give the same thing as I'm going to give in the webinar. So like, what do you think would be a good, I don't know which one I'm like sort of talking about, if that makes sense. I'm kind of like, this is the first week I'm just kind of not firefighting, but just like not as structured. I'm just kind of coming up with ideas of what to post about,
Yeah.
instead of following a structure. Does that make sense?
Yeah. And I think that like, so I have a couple of things, but I want you, I'm like, I still want to forget these thoughts. So I'm like, I'll remember them. But I want you to think from this idea that I'm going to really try something and I'm going to make it
Right.
work. I will give you an answer, I promise. But I want you to also be like, okay, what do I think? What do I think Megan would tell me? Or like, what would I like as the CEO of my business? What is my best guess? And then I will give you feedback because
Yeah.
in this, like, I want you to also develop that, like, okay, it's like, again, if I really try and I'm going to give my best guess, that's okay. It's just a test, but I want to hear what your best guess is just to create safety for your brain in this. And then I will give you feedback also.
Okay. Yeah, no, that makes sense. I always like to look for the answers outside of myself
I
rather than
know. I'm
forcing
like,
myself
you're welcome.
to
Sorry.
answer. Okay, so the webinar is about consults and how to get them. So in my head, I'm like, so do I talk about like
When is the webinar? Sorry, real quick.
next Monday? So not
Okay.
long. So I think this week, I can't remember what I've posted about. I've scheduled a few posts. But like marketing. But I don't know if it should be like a kind of funnel lead in, if that makes sense. You know what I mean? Like, so should I be talking about like things before the consult and then be like, so the next stage is to do this, or should I be like talking about consults and then being like, but if you're someone that struggles with getting them, you need to come on a webinar. So I don't know whether I should be like pitching before or after. Does that make sense?
Okay. So I'm going to keep you in you, and then I will promise I will
Okay.
give you my feedback. Okay.
Okay.
So I want you to think about your ideal client.
Mm-hmm.
What would be compelling for them? What would be like, what do they really need for them to sign up for said webinar? What would they need to hear that they're going to learn? What is their struggle and or goal of why they would sign up?
So their struggle is that they're not getting consults, like they're just posting Like, so I feel like all they're doing is posting. Like, that's their marketing
Yes.
strategy. That's what loads of people think when you ask them, right, what are you doing to get clients? And they're like, well, I'm posting on social. And
And I'm
that's about
spending
it.
hours on these posts
And
for
it-
social, and you're like, oh,
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, for sure. And I've been there 100%, so I totally
Mhm.
get it. So that's what they're doing. I can't remember what your question was.
So my
So
question is, what is their struggle? What is their goal? Why would they want to sign up for this webinar? And this goes for everybody. I want you to think about right now, who is your person? What are they struggling with right now? And how can you show them that by working with you or opting into a webinar or doing a freebie, whatever it is the answer. So it's like, so this is their problem. They're not getting consults. So
Yeah.
from you, what do you think that the best idea for marketing would be from this standpoint?
Like content that's like posting all day and still not getting content. Like, I don't know, you know, that's the type of thing. But,
Yes.
So here's my difference though, right? So like in my head, but then, so say for example, I did that, right? Because then like, so you're meeting them where they are, posting all day, or, you know, spend only all your time posting on social just to hear crickets, nobody signs up for a consult. But in the value in my post, I don't want to give what I'm going to give in the webinar. So then I'm like,
What
so
are you
do I
giving in the
give?
webinar? Yeah. What are you giving in the webinar?
Well, I've not actually created it yet. I'm a very last minute person. I always
Oh,
do
that's
it,
totally
like,
fine.
post it.
I was like, but like, so for me, like literally, I created the chaos that like, again, you do like, these are recommendations because it's great. And also you have to be flexible as a CEO and like, okay, it's like, this is how I work. This is totally fine. Either just choosing to be like, this is how I work, or I'm going to choose to make it work, even though it wasn't ideal. So for me, for the Chaos to Cash Flow webinar, I was literally just like, what am I teaching in this? And from that birthed my 3 steps for Chaos to Cash Flow. I knew because I had done a webinar in October that I wanted to talk about constraint, communication, and commitment. Or no, it's not even that. Constraint, communication, and another C word that I can't remember. But I was like, okay, I knew that those are the 3 things I wanted to talk about. And I was like, I knew that was like the whole topic. It was constraint and communicate really are like the 2 big ones. And so I knew that, and I still didn't plan until like I didn't actually mark it as the 3 steps to go from cash to cash flow until my
Yeah.
coach brought up the fact that she was like, oh, it's 3 steps. And I was like, oh, it's 3 steps. I'm like, that's so good. And so I was like, when they come to this, are they going to learn? Like, what is the main thing they need to learn?
Well, the main thing they need to learn is they need to like speak to people. They need to build relationships. That's the main thing. Because like every consult or every client I've ever signed has always come from like some kind of connection first. Like nobody's just going to buy from
Or
you,
someone they
or
don't know.
like if
And also
they
in
don't trust you.
and I've got like ideas for you for this webinar just specifically, but
Yeah.
for you, it's like there is one thing that your business, and this is where again coming to a place of like, what did other people say that made me feel compelled? So it's like there is just one thing that your business is missing that if you come here, you will add. So this is what you market to. It's like, come to this webinar. The value is you will learn one thing. You do not tell them what the one thing is.
Yeah. But then, so that's what I mean about like if I'm doing posts or reels that are like, you know, not getting consults.
Ready to learn the one thing. Now, it's like ready to learn the one thing that will completely shift your business. It's like you have to come to this webinar. What's the name of it?
How to actually get consults.
How to actually get consults. Oh, that's such a beautiful. So you're gonna be like, it's like, if you're ready, let's learn how to actually get consults. The one thing that will completely shift your business. Now, okay, so, but I want you to know that your brain came up with this on your own. Like, before I give you feedback and ideas, like, if you like going through with this, freaking awesome. It's so good. And I've got some ideas to take it to the next level. But I don't want you to be coming, like, it's like I want to get you from a place like literally this right here. What is your goal with this webinar also? And I have a feeling, because if you are kind of like, at least me, and if you're kind of the person that's like, oh, I'm just gonna kind of like half-ass, then I'm gonna like half-ass set my goals. I've
Yeah,
really
totally, I'm
shifted
like,
this year, like to be
Yeah.
like, I'm going balls to the wall and 35 people, and I'm
Yeah.
not gonna figure like, so it's like really changing your relationship not only with the action line but also the result line of your business. What is the goal number of clients you'd like to sign from this?
Well, by the end of the year, my goal was 3. So I'm like, if I can do this, and ideally, I don't know, I'm not 100% sold on that will happen because I've not got very many in it yet, but that would be the goal.
So it's like, so the thing is, it's like, okay, right now at this point in my business, this is my best guess to get to 3. And
Mhm.
like, this is a phenomenal plan. And now I'm going to, from like the CEO energy, being like, I think that this is going to be the thing that brings in the 3 of them, along
Mhm.
with like, it's like, I'm going to focus on this in my marketing, talk to humans, literally what you're teaching them to do.
Yeah,
That would be
exactly.
helpful. I'm like, because then this is a perfect conversation starter. Be like, hey, I want to see. It's like, one of the things I noticed is like, people like, this is the perfect time of year to bring more consults in. I'm actually doing this webinar about how to get more consults and actually get consults. I was wondering, would you like to come? Would you
Mhm.
like to join me? So like, just having that as your segue
Yeah,
to the
yeah.
conversations, huge.
Mhm.
And this is awesome. Like, it's like, okay, so this is my best guess. This is what I do with launches. I'm like, this right here, this schedule is my best guess. And then I bring it to my coach and I'm like, I think this will get 35 people. Maybe not now, maybe not today, but eventually this, it's like, if I start running ads 2 weeks before, if I send an email every day the weeks prior, if I send 3 emails a day during it, I really do think this is what's going to take this launch to 35 people. And she's like, great. I want you to do 10 reels on Friday. I was like, I'm going to throw her up. She told me that on Thursday, you guys. She was like, I want you to do 10 fucking reels in one day. I usually do 8 a month, frame
Mhm.
of reference. And I was like, okay, she's probably telling me this for a good reason. And I sold myself on, like, I'm like, I know that she just wants my business to succeed. And from that place, I was like, that's why she's telling me to do this. I can see that in the future, I'm probably going to have other things going on in my life. And to crank out 10 reels in 4 hours is going to be an asset to my business. And so from here, it's like I sold myself, and I literally, here's the first one, all the way up to here. I did 10 reels in a day. And I was like, it was crazy. So
And did you post them in the same day?
yes,
Okay, right, okay.
went ham, hard as a motherfucker, literally on this last day. I was literally just like, let's go. Each of the
Mhm.
FAQs that I posted in the stream, I just made a reel. I was like,
Yeah.
all right. I was like,
Yeah, I
challenge
did notice
accepted.
you kind of ramped up. That's why I wanted to do this week,
Oh,
rather
no.
than just doing my normal posting. I want to ramp up.
So here's my thought for you. From this, I absolutely do think that you can get people to sign up. What I want you to ramp up is the conversations with humans. It's
Yeah.
like, I think that, but I want you to do, so actually, before I say that, again, if your goal is to sign 3 people, again, I'm helping
Mhm.
you like shift in this energy. What would you
Mhm.
need to think to be like, oh yeah, I signed 3 people a webinar. Like, in any event, this is going to be helpful for
Mhm.
you forever.
Yeah.
Like, so it's like, what is the thought of the version of you that signs 3 people from this webinar?
Um. Well, yeah, I mean, I don't know if I would think I signed 3 people from a webinar. That just doesn't sound like. Do you mean like?
It's
Because
like,
I can 100% believe there are at least 3 people that would for sure want to and benefit, and that I'm able to help and would want to work with me. I can believe that, I think, for sure.
and working with me will, okay, so cool. With me will help them. It's like, just, and I think that, like, how does that feel for you, first off? It's like,
Well, it just makes me feel like certain. 'Cause I'm like, I know there's at least 3 people for sure out there that are struggling with the things that I know I can help them with.
mm-hmm. And so
and
from that
they
place,
want the result of that.
it's like from that, it's like, okay, it's like, and I'm just going to take this to the next level. Okay.
Mhm.
So instead of it's like there are 3 people out there. It's like, I'm going to do everything in my power to find these 3 people right now. It's like,
Okay.
I'm going to find them and help them.
Mhm.
If it's the last thing I fucking do.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I like that.
And help them. What emotion besides certain does that evoke in you? I hope that's the right use of the word.
Determination, like determined.
Yes. From that emotion,
Mhm.
what would you, is there anything that you would do differently?
Oh,
Like,
for sure.
what would it be?
Well, it would be stop wasting all of my time and go and speak to the people I've been nurturing, just speak to as many people as I possibly can. Post it in places where I can that I know what ideal clients are. Just like talk about it like crazy as much as I possibly can.
This is literally the shift.
Yeah.
This is exactly what I was gonna offer. It's like literally just talk to the fucking people, talk to the
Mhm.
humans. But you couldn't, if I told you, the reason why this is important is if I told you to speak to as many people as possibly can, this is what you should do, then you
Mhm.
wouldn't have the emotion to push you to
Yeah.
actually do it with this feeling, you
Yeah,
know?
for sure.
And so
Mhm.
it's like, that's why I was like, I know, just bear with me. I was like, I know it's annoying to like ask a question. I hate when I ask a question and I don't get an answer right away. I'm like, it's my
Oh no, it's
pet
fine.
peeve.
I actually need that because my go-to is to just avoid and get other people to answer my questions. So
Yeah.
feel
And
free to push it back on me.
and I want you to keep this going past the webinar. Okay. So like
Yeah.
the time to sell, my like, so this is like, now that you're in this energy, you're going to be like, gung ho, let's go. What's going to happen is people aren't going to come to the webinar. You might reach out to them, just so you know from personal experience. You might reach out to
Yeah.
them. They might not come to the webinar. You might reach out to
Mhm.
them, be like, but you still have to keep in mind that it's like, I'm going to find them and help them. Like, I am determined to help them with all the people I reached out to. I reached out to 60 people on, it was like on my whole nurture list, and the people that came to the webinar, I reached out to them. It was like, hey, I would love to invite you to this webinar the week before. And then after, I was like, I sent them a video and I was like, hey, it's like, first off, hope that was really helpful. Second off, I really feel like this mastermind, based on what you've told me, would be a great fit for you. I would love to invite you to work with me. I've got like, it's like the deadline ends Sunday, so I would love to like get you in. And so even then, personal reach out, people still didn't respond. And that's fine because I was not attached to them. I was like,
Yeah.
I'm going to do whatever I possibly can to help these humans. If it means me staying up to 1:30 on Thursday to make all these reels and like posting them, I was like, that's fine. It's going to serve me later. These relationships will serve me later. What level of commitment would you need to be in? Like, still determined, even when people might not respond. They don't like, and just not making it mean any, because the
Yeah.
making it mean anything, it's like, this is just a test. I'm just trying this. And also, I'm not going to harm a relationship by reaching out to people. Like, and the cool thing is, I've been reaching out to people and it's like, but it's like, even though the webinar, it's like, even though the mastermind's over, it's like, I still want to support you. I want to hear like more about your goals, and I just re-nurture them again. So I'm just like
Yeah.
bringing them in again. It doesn't mean that like, if I message them like 2 or 3 times, it doesn't mean that the relationship isn't salvaged. And that's the thing I wanted to mention is like, after the webinar is actually the time that you're really selling.
Yeah.
So
Yeah,
what
actually,
comes
I
up
thought
there?
about that. Yeah, no, I think that's fine actually, because that's more the stage when it's like, do you want this? This is what this will give you. You know what I mean? I think that's more of the kind of reels that are just selling and talking about what they get in the program. I think right now my question is like, what am I marketing to get them do you know what I mean? Because when I think of marketing, it's more just value, right? So
Uh-huh.
giving them value in some way, and then after the fact, it's like selling them on coming to work with me.
So what I said to them, and I can send you guys like the video that I did, but if that would be helpful, but I literally like recorded different video. So it's like, You guys are gonna think I'm crazy, but I literally recorded different videos for different people. And I was like, any former one-on-one clients, hey, and I made a video for it. I was like, I miss you. Hope things are going well. This is for people afterwards. So it's like the former masterminders, anyone I've been talking to on my list, anyone who registered, I sent videos to all of them within that
Mhm.
next week. For you, for the people that you're sending them to beforehand, I sent everybody this one video. It was like, can you hear it?
No.
I'll send it. I was like, I'm doing this webinar called Chaos to Cash Flow. I would love for you to be there. It's going to be awesome. It's like, let me know if you want me to reserve your seat. If not, no worries. Like, it was like, but I like went hard and I was like, yeah, I was like, I want you to be there. It would be so fun.
Did you DM them those
I'll send you the video.
in
Yeah,
Instagram?
send it to me.
Yeah,
You
I'm
sent-
sending it all on
After-
Instagram, or I sent them a video, the same word. I sent them the same word from, I send the same thing in words if I only had their email. But I try and make sure for everyone on my nurture list, I actually get their email. So I'm uploading it now because I'll forget. But it's like, yeah. And so how, I'm gonna say, does that land, Nadia?
Yeah,
At least,
yeah,
yeah, I
no,
see
no,
you.
I'm happy. I'm happy with that. I feel like I'm more determined now to actually go and find the people and help invite them and help them.
Be like, just really feel like this could be for you. I mean, you look at their page and you see it and then you're like, oh my God, you're so awesome. It's like, I know you're not talking to anybody. You're like, I know you're not, because you would have more. I'm like, the way that you're saying things would be different if you had more people. Like, I just
Yeah.
know. And so I think this is awesome.
Mhm.
And I really do think that literally just this feeling of determined, being in that badass energy and like, I'm going to find them and help them. I want
Yeah.
everybody in this room to have these two thoughts,
Mhm.
which is so good. Also, I'm going to say video or webinar. And I can add all the other videos I sent as well and send you guys that like crazy ass list if you want. Totally willing to
Yeah,
do
do
that.
that. That's good. Yeah.
I got you. With the endo, I was like, my body is like not doing well, but Alicia, I really want to hear what you have to say. I'm just going to mute myself for a moment and use the facility. My bathroom's right here, so I can still hear you. But I'm like, my body is just like, y'all. Rob is like, he has never seen me this bad before. And I'm like, I'm so sorry. I was like, but I'm going to mute myself and I will be right back. But I'm listening to you, Alicia.
Go and just take care of yourself for a minute and I will just talk to you. I have a quick question, so it's fine when you get back.
And I'm back. I was like, thank you for your patience, friends. I was like, that's the kind of mastermind we're running here. One that is flexible for humans. So what was your question?
So I am trying to set up my marketing calendar. Can I share my screen with you?
Of course, bring it on. And while you do that, I promise I'm listening. I'm going to add the document that I just showed you guys.
Okay.
Okay. Perfect. Okay. So on the further left-hand side, what are your topics?
What?
What are your topics for each week?
I don't know yet. I mean, I'm just trying to get
Okay.
the format, the template done.
Yeah.
like, for me. So I'm not doing Instagram. I would happily do that, but I feel like that's a natural evolution from getting my emails down, because email is
Yeah.
where I'm strongest right now.
Totally. Agree.
And so my non-spreadsheet mind is just looking at this going, I'm not quite sure how to set this up, because I also send out a newsletter on Sundays, and then the newsletter is with my blog, and so I write a new blog every week, or at least that's my goal.
Mhm.
So I don't know if I have the blog in the right space. Like, you're just good at you're good at looking at these, and I look
Yeah.
at these across, and I'm not sure I have it how. So I'm just asking,
Well,
like, what would you suggest? How would you set it up?
Okay, so what I would do is the way I do it is like with my blog newsletter, both of those things, I actually just make it my warm post. So whatever my warm post was, I actually don't include a separate tab for newsletter or blog. I just take the same post and I copy and paste it into my Flowdesk, into my email provider. However, I do think that I actually love that they are separate, because then you can always go back to the newsletter / blog. They're all the same post, correct?
Okay, so no, my blogs are totally different. So maybe blogs should be right here on Sunday.
What
And
is the
then
blog about that's totally different?
blogs are more like information that I post that gets me like organic search traffic. So it's not
Why would
so
you not use that for the warm then? Like why? Because it's like I think you're just go
send
ahead.
those out. I send those out as my newsletter. I send the blogs out as my newsletter.
Mhm.
So I will usually, in my newsletter, I'll include one new blog and one old blog.
So what
Like,
I'm thinking is that instead of the warm posts, you just do exactly what you have in your newsletter. And here's my thought process behind it is essentially, again, studies are coming out that people are using social media as a search engine more than Google. So if someone goes to look up coach for hikers, they might not actually go to Google, they would actually go to Facebook or something like that. So if you're using SEO for Google, that's actually going to help you on social as well. So what, like, do you think
okay.
it's just really long for the warm leads, or is it just like,
Um, okay, well, let me tell you what
I just don't know if
let me
that
tell
was
you
like
what
a
I do,
thought.
and I'm open
Yeah.
to rethinking it, because it does
Mhm.
end up being a lot. So I have a Monday, Wednesday, Friday. Monday, I do a motivational, which, I haven't tailored them exactly to be hot, warm, cold. So Monday I have a motivational. Wednesday, I have a Wednesday wins. That's usually a testimonial. Friday, I have a fitness Friday. So that's usually more of a how-to
Mhm.
fitness standpoint. And then I send the newsletter on Sunday, which includes a new blog, a link to a new blog, and a link to an old blog, and a link and call to action. I mean, there's call to actions on everything, but
So what I think I'm hearing you say is that like Monday is your motivation that's cold. That's perfect. Keep that. I think we're just switching Wednesday wins to the hot. So instead of where it says Tuesday on the left-hand side where it says date, instead of Tuesday, just put the word Wednesday.
yeah.
Also, I know that spreadsheets are not your favorite thing. I was like, if you also want to share this and put it in the chat, I can edit this for you if you want.
Okay. I'm learning though. I'm
Like,
really,
I love it. I love it. Okay, so then
really trying. That's
within
why I got stuck, and I'm
like,
like,
I'm proud of you doing like I think this is a good question for everybody. So then what after Wednesday you want to have what was the next one? Friday.
Friday fitness. It's more of a
Okay.
strategy.
So what I want you to do is just switch the warm and hot little, yep, take that, copy it, put it on in column I next to audio because it'll be annoying. Yeah, you can put it there and then copy hot. Put it where
Yep.
warm is
And
and then
make that
change the red.
make that a blog.
No, just to have that is just so you in your mind know that like this is for my hot people on Wednesdays. You're still touching all pods of people. You're just not touching them in the order, which the order doesn't matter, which is why I'm glad you brought this up.
Okay.
And then the warm, you're gonna take that and put that there. Now for your warm leads, that is going to be the same thing I would send out in your Sunday newsletter and the same thing as the blog. That's what I would suggest.
So do that again. Warm leads would be
The same content, whatever your how-to is, just
Mhm.
do that for your newsletter and blog. Now, if you want to do something different, you are more than welcome to add posts and things like that. I just think that that is going to be a lot simpler for you. And then you can focus more of your energy if you want to on talking to more people in your audience. But if you want to continue that, still, I think that flow works.
Okay, so are you saying not do the Sunday newsletter thing?
I'm saying do the Sunday newsletter, just the content in it. Don't make it different than the Friday post. Because I think that this is based on people seeing exactly what you say on Friday. And they're like,
But these are all emails. Like this is not, and what I will do,
okay. So then I
Yeah.
would just say you can either omit what would be the difference in the newsletter? Or what's the difference between warm right now?
so all of the Monday, Wednesday, Friday emails, I am just writing, I'm just writing something on a topic
Okay.
and either a testimonial or a strategy or a motivation.
Mhm.
And then my newsletter actually has links to blogs that are on the website.
Okay. So first off, do you like that flow? Does that work for you?
It does. It's a lot. And then
is a
what I've done now is I was taking every email and just copying that and posting it on Facebook and posting it in my Facebook group. What I've done now is just to make it easier for myself, whatever my topic is for my Monday, typically, or one of the other days, I will like ask a question or post a reel in my Facebook group
Perfect.
to get more engagement, to get more people talking. So, trying to use that less as a billboard and more as a community, trying to
Yeah.
and like I said, I have not done Instagram. I will get there. I'm on it, but I
I was like,
just
you are good. I was like, but within this, like, if this is a system that works for you currently, that's the only adjustments that I would make based on it's not even an adjustment. It's more so just for your understanding of like, you are hitting every piece of your audience 3 times a week. Now, the only other thing I wanted to add is that like the fitness, your pillars, also if anyone needs to go, I love you. Have a good one. But fitness, knee pain, confidence, and consistency, that's what the topic is. So it's like over on the left, there should be another there should be another column. So so week 1, let's make fitness.
Okay. I'm so sorry. Oh no, I don't need to get that one. I think that's fine. Okay. So week 1.
So it's whatever you want it to be. Now, like coming to Nadia's point, I hope this answered your question, Nadia, but I would, if you're doing a webinar, you just change the timing of things. Like, so you, like, that could be helpful. Fitness, confidence, knee pain, and consistency.
Yeah.
So that gives you more guidance
Okay.
for, and also if we're thinking about search engine optimization, or SEO as people like to call it, is within your, as you post things like that, what happens is if you continue to have, yeah, nutrition, yep, you can add that for sure. I'm going to add that for you and your pillar. So I remember that's a new pillar. But within that, oh yeah, I have it here. Right. Sorry. So within that, you're going to start to generate organic search engine optimization literally just from talking about these topics consistently.
Okay.
So
All
like
right.
in your Facebook group, that's what I mean. And like, yeah. But like, does that make more sense? I hope that helps everybody. Now I saw that, and I can say on a bit longer,
So
RMD.
yeah, I just have,
Mhm.
so this is the pillar, but then this is the topic is
So
s-
within,
pertains to
uh-huh.
that.
So within fitness, it's like they could be like, can't keep, we look at the problem in this pillar. It's like, can't keep up, having trouble climbing, feeling winded, don't feel like they're fit enough. So for the topic, you could choose one of those. And like the Monday motivation would be related to fitness. So
Yeah,
like,
yeah,
how can you motivate yourself when you're feeling winded? Then the testimonial would be about somebody who's feeling winded and doesn't anymore because they worked with you. And then the how to is like, here's a couple steps. And then the
yeah.
blog would be like, let's talk about fitness. It's like, it's important, but just have it sprinkled in and make it be like about winded, but have the word fitness in there. And that will generate the search engine optimization. So what you
Okay.
can do with this spreadsheet also is take out, I think that if it helps you to keep a separate blog tab, but I think that the blog, yeah, I think that I would just take out the blog and make it blog/newsletter on Sunday.
Yeah. And so this is not, was the checklist then what we did today? Like that annual and the monthly and the weekly, is that, because we talked about a checklist, like, um,
So the checklist, I think, is
not
actually,
necessarily my checklist for, did I do everything? It's just for planning.
and if you
Like,
ever hire someone for social media, like this is what they would use. This is how I communicate with my social person.
okay. Okay. And then you just, to make, and this is just 1 month. So the next month you just add,
If you
how do
click on the down, so once you make a for nutrition, and what you're
you,
going to do is you're going to copy and paste the date and email, and you're going to put that for all of them. Because right now you switched it for week 1, but not for week 2, 3, and 4. So then you're going to go down where it says sheet 1. There's a little
yeah.
down arrow. Click that,
Uh-huh.
duplicate,
Okay. And
and
make
then
another.
boom. And then you can name it like that one. You can make like the blank topic, and then the next one you can be like January.
Okay.
But I think
Okay.
that was a great A-line question. And Nadia's, to your point, I think we already talked about this, but like talking about 2 of your pillars on either side of the webinar, I think is just really helpful.
Yeah. No, that's good. That's good. Okay. All right. Super. Thank you. Thank you.
Of course. It's
Thank you.
like
Thank
that was, I feel like, just helpful for all.
Megan, sorry, can I just quickly ask a
Yes,
question?
of course.
So yeah, so my question was like two of my pillars, but like which ones relate into like, do you know what I mean? Do I do the one that's like that leads up to getting consult, or do I do like the ones like talking
So
about?
I would say that
Do
for
you know what I mean?
you, your pillars, I would say you would talk about consults, um consults like this week. So you'd be in this pillar this week, like, hey, you
Like
sign up for,
selling.
yep, or yeah, yes, selling. So that's the topic of this whole week. And you can
Uh-huh.
continue to talk about consults into next week. When you said it's on Monday,
Mm-hmm.
then you could either do just the whole program, or you could also talk about overall direction and be like, not only are you guys struggling with consults, but you might be struggling with overall direction. That's what we do in the business coaching business accelerator, and then have your 3 posts about this, or you could do it about the whole thing.
Yeah, I was thinking about the whole thing because,
Yeah,
like, at
I
the
think
end of
that's a
my
great idea.
at the end of my webinar, I'm going to be selling the whole thing, right?
Exactly. And that's exactly how I do my launches. So
Mhm.
you can either choose an adjacent topic. So sometimes the reason why I said an adjacent topic is sometimes it like overlaps really well. Like for instance, for Alicia, if she were to do something like fitness and knee pain, I think they overlap closely enough that they would be like, it would be a natural progression that like her webinar, if it was about knee pain, fitness would also come up. And
Yeah.
all these things would come up. But for
Yeah.
you, I think that like if it doesn't feel like a natural progression, take that topic, like the, and I know that my marketing calendar, I will clean this up eventually, but like planning, marketing, generating leads, and selling, you could just take this and be like 6-figure systems, and then just move whatever that topic was to the week for,
Yeah.
and then you would just be like, oh, I need to talk about selling because I missed it.
Yeah.
And then what I do is take this and I go every month, I just go like this and I go delete. And then I come up with new stuff
Yeah.
and change the dates.
Yeah. Okay. Okay. Thank you.
Of course. You guys are helping me get ahead. And also it looks crazy at the bottom, but I kind of like love it. I'm like, I know it looks insane, but I'm like, it is helpful for me to be like literally as I'm coaching people, sometimes I'll be like, wait, this needs to be a post. I was like, Barb. I was like, I was coaching Barb and I was like, it was really helpful for me to be like this. And I was like, I was coaching Amy and I was like, oh, this is a good post. So I literally like put it there. Really, really awesome questions. And just so you know, I'm not even gonna show you guys my launch stuff because it's a mess. But like I'll almost like I feel like I kind of want to make a module about it. It'll either be a full-on module or it will be a bonus. I think I'm leaning towards a bonus. Because it really like, and these, you're going to get all these December 26th, just a heads up. And I'm not going to really go into these unless somebody needs me to. However, for you guys, I will go through launching with you guys and I'll go through that as like a bonus, but not bonus. That makes sense. But I'm excited for you guys. I know this is like a lot. I know this is a lot of information. But just so you know, next week we're going to talk about, I think the monthly checklist is what you're talking about, Alicia. And this is the checklist. So it's like just kind of like it's just what I do to make sure I'm like, did I touch this every single month? Am I actually did I do all the things I needed to do? Oh no, I didn't do QuickBooks. Shit. Okay, I'm gonna do this. But like that will be like a quick one. And then we've got high to low value cycles, goal setting. And we're good. So very fun. I love you guys. Are there any last lingering questions, comments, ideas, feedback? I think today was an intense but really good call. So I am really proud of you guys. If you have any questions, I am making oh, Armini, do you have a question? I saw your hand.
Oh no, I just want to say goodbye.
Oh, great. I was like, I saw your hand. I was like, I think I was like switching from big to small. And I was like, oh, well, adios. But within, I know that I haven't done the Google Classroom module. And it's just because doing all those reels in one day was like insane. So I love you guys. That will be coming. And I will see you next week.
Thanks, Megan.
Bye, everybody.
Bye bye. Bye everybody.